Hello and thank you for watching Togetherness Media. This is Amir Lahiji live from Los Angeles, and today I want to talk about ADHD. We are going to New York and talk to Dr. Mitra Khorramshadi. She is a psychiatrist and a neuroscientist. Hello and welcome, doctor.
Hello, good evening. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for asking.
Amazing, amazing. I'm so excited to talk to you again about the new topic. And today, let's talk about ADHD and what is neurobiology of ADHD.
Perfect question. Let's talk about the definition.
Mhm.
What is the ADHD and is it hyperactivity? These do have different components. One is that the individual or the person is unable to focus, and the second one is that hyperactivity or too much activity. So basically, we do have the two component, and usually we do have this type of disorder associated with the genetic disorders, which means that the ADHD runs in the family, and there is a couple of people in the family, first generation, second generation, that they do have the same sign and symptom of the other individual. So it means that we do have difficulty with the concentration, and we do have the difficulty still and be quiet. So major problem is in the structure of the brain, in the hippocampus, in the amygdala, in the prefrontal, which they has to be regulated by other hormones such as the serotonin and dopamine and norepinephrine and epinephrine. So basically, what I'm trying to explain to you that there is an imbalance, too much hormone at the time of the
I'm sorry. There is a.
neurotransmitter.
I'm sorry. There is a lots of interruption. It's an internet problem. Are you on Wi-Fi or is it any way we can do it better?
I'm on the iPhone.
Okay. So I couldn't get everything. Please let's continue and see what's gonna happen.
Yes, I was trying to explain to you that there is a couple of neurotransmitter hormones that they do have the deficiency or overproduction in the ADHD, and I was explaining that you do have the two component. One is the inability to focus. The second one is hyperactivity, which means that they are very restless and they have the difficulty to stand still and be in the quiet position. So basically, the level and prefrontal cortex, which is associated with the regulation of the hormones and the structure of the brain, a little bit is different from the other individual.
So, what are the symptoms of ADHD in children and adults?
Very, very nice, emphasis that we do have the two different type of the ADHD. We do have it in children and we do have that in adults. Basically, the majority of the people ADHD only in children, but it's not true. We do have ADHD in adults, in teenagers, and we do have a lot of complaint regarding that our teenagers unable to do their daily activity, focus when they are in the college or when they are in the high school, and they do have the difficulty to maintain their ability to be in the school and function in the school. So basically, I want to tell you that if we are talking about the 5, 6, 7 years old child, which is usually is the boy, we are seeing a boy that is too much active. He is running around from one side of the other side of the room, and we call it as they are jumping from one object to another object. If you do have this type of child in your office, in your home, you will see that it's very, very difficult to control them, to handle them, and they do have the irritation tantrum, and sometimes they get so irritated, so edgy, and it would be very, very difficult for the parents to control this type of the children. Just imagine that they want to go to school in the early morning, from the time that they get up to the bathroom, do the primary stuff for getting ready to go to school, and even though eating some kind of brief breakfast and packing up their stuff and just sitting in a car and go with the parents, but not now these days because we are everything as a virtual education. But I'm talking about a couple of months ago, right? That was a real hassle for the family members, especially for the caregivers, when they are trying to get involved with this type of children. But imagine that we are talking about the ADHD in a young adult, a college boy. Usually they do have the difficulty to focus. They do have the difficulty to understand what is the demand of the other instructor, college professors, and the teachers, and it would be very difficult for them to be on time to deliver all the project and all of the homeworks that they want. The problem with the teenage boys or teenage girls with the ADHD is that we know them as a careless driver. So if you look at their car, majority of the time is full of scratches, a little bit of the accidents. So we know these group of the people as a very forgetful and careless. They lost their umbrella, watches, rings, everything. They lost, and they are trying to substitute something else in a very short period of time. So basically what I'm trying to explain to that, we do have two different categories in the children and in adult, and especially the adult, main manifestation is that relationship problem, especially with the, girlfriend, boyfriend, or, relationship with the instructor in the high school or college. And the second one that they do have the problem is with the DMV. They do have a lot of problem with the DMV regarding the reckless behavior, drinking and driving, or a little bit of the, car accident.
Interesting. So, is ADHD, is it related to IQ?
Very nice question. I have to tell you that no, we do have the normal IQ in the people with the ADHD. We do have the very broad range. It could be very, very low IQ. It could be intermediate IQ, and it could be, super intelligent people. No. So IQ doesn't have any, main character for diagnosis of the ADHD. ADHD usually has been diagnosed with the history that we are getting from the people that living with the, child or teenager, since that they know the child or teenager, they have the understanding about the character of the behavior. So basically what I'm trying to tell you, based on the question parents from the teachers, for the significant people around, we can make a diagnosis of the ADHD.
So what do you suggest as a treatment for ADHD?
Very, very good question. First of all, we have to know that the ADHD is not a disorder. It means that, it's not the ending of the world. So ADHD people, and the best thing is
you said it's not ending the world, right?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah. When you do have the ADHD, it's okay, as long as you are aware about your sign and your symptom and your problem, and you get awareness about to handle it, you can have a very, very, normal life. It's not the ending of the world. So I see a lot of, parents coming to the office, and when we are trying to explain that, what is the ADHD, they get hopeless, and they get, sad regarding that. Oh my goodness, my child has been diagnosed with the ADHD. So I'm trying to explain that, it's not a big deal. ADHD is one of the psychiatrists and neuro psychiatry. We do have many ways to manage it and to make a better life for the kids or a teenager. So basically, the first one
I'm
is
sorry,
that
based on everything you said, this type of people, they have lots of problem in their life.
yes, yes.
And now you're telling us is not a big deal.
No.
So, do we have a different level of ADHD? Like 1 to 10 people, they have a different level?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. We do have so many different level of the ADHD. That it is 1 to 25 to 30.
Wow.
So it's a very big range. So when we are diagnosing ADHD, we're trying to explain and educate the person, handle, let.
Sorry, it's a
Go ahead.
interruption, internet connection problem again. Say one more time, your last sentence.
It's the first thing is that we should let the educational system knows
Right.
about our child
Right.
sign and symptom. So if I do have a child with the ADHD, I have to let the school staff knows that my child does have this type of problem. So we do have the different management in the school system that they can be very helpful to help us for the education of this type of the children. Sometimes they do have the one-by-one paros helping them to get the material, to understand the material, to and have the best time management when they are at the school system. And the second one is that let them be active manner. I mean,
Sorry,
let them to be.
Did you say let them be active?
Yes, let them be
Okay.
active in a sport. So if they like to play soccer, it's better to register them in a soccer team. Or if
Okay.
they like to go to the ballet, just let them know to have a dance class. So basically, having a fun activity, fun sport is very good for them. A majority of the children with the ADHD loves to play with the PlayStation. They loves to play with the games, computer game, whatever it is. And explaining to the family members regarding that, I understand that it's very difficult and problem making for the family members and the parents. But with playing with these games, children could be able to regulate their brain waves. I mean that we have to let them to play, but in a specific time. It could be like a rewarding system that if you do have a child with ADHD and tell him that if you finish your homework, you can play for half an hour or 1 hour video game. That would be very good motivation to let them to be involved in their school homework and even though in their fun activity that they like.
So I have a
The other
question.
things.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Continue, please. Go ahead.
The other things that we have to do is to ask for the neurofeedback, some kind of treatment and training and activities that help the brain structure to be more able to focus. And when we cannot do this type of first line treatment, we usually go with the psychotherapy. We do the different type of the therapy management. And the last resort is the medication. And I have to tell you that we do have the two different type of the medication. We call it the stimulus medication and non-stimulus medication. And based on, the case, based on the age of the individual, we sometimes have to use the medication for the management of the ADHD.
Interesting. You answered my question, and I have another question from our one of our audience that what's the difference between ADHD and ADD? I know
At the
maybe it's a
beginning, I was
long, but you can make it short.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
At the beginning, I was explaining that ADHD is attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. It means that there is two components. In ADD, we do have only one component.
One.
About a child means that they do have the hyperactivity, they do have different concentrated. So we are talking about the ADHD for the children. But I
Right.
have to tell you that, as we are getting older, the activity, hyperactivity will be controlled well, but unable to focus, unable to pay attention, it still is there. So that's why we call it ADD, means that attention deficit. There is no more, hyperactivity. And a college boy can sit in the class, can be able to listen to the teacher, but they cannot be able to focus and concentrate.
Okay, amazing. Back to treatments. You mentioned three different treatments: therapy, neurofeedback, and medication, right?
Correct.
And okay, because someone asked again, I want to just review. Do you have anything you want to add for treatments?
Well, the majority of the environmental stimulus that cause the children with the ADHD have a low function. I mean, if you have a child with the ADHD, the first step is that to turn off the TV or turn off the radio when they are paying attention to do the homeworks. These are very basic information. Or if you do have a child with the ADHD, it's better to decrease the amount of the sugar or caffeine they are consuming during the day, and let them to have a very balanced diet or healthy diet. If you do have a child with the ADHD, it's better to educate yourself regarding that, how to deal with the tantrum, with the anxiety, with the depression, with the edginess of this type of the children. And some children do not have the ADHD as a main component. They do have the ADHD with the other sign and symptom that we have to focus on that component, which is type of the behavioral issue, or any substance issue. So we have to focus on that part. The cases, as I said, that this is a very, very broad range of the sign and symptom. We do have 25, 35 different type of the ADHD, and we have to know that which character and which dominancy of the symptom is the most important to pay attention and consider.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khorramshadi. I really appreciate for your time, and I hope to talk to you next week with another topic. Thank you. So stay in touch. We have more programs, more music, and tell your friends if they missed this program, just they can watch it on our archive or Instagram. Stay in touch and don't go anywhere. Let me see who is next. Wow, stay in touch.